Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Season Keepers, the show where the only two people we recommend keeping for the season is us. My name's Matt, aka Clean Sheet Wipeout.
And my name's James, aka FPL Drug.
Good to see you again, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Excited for the new season. Seeing all the talk of that 4.0 million.
Oh, what? Simicast. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Yeah, Sini Cass.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, he threw my draft up in the air because I've brought him in. Why not? Yeah. Well, honestly, my phone is full of screenshots at the moment. I haven't been in the headspace for FPL at all. And then at the weekend, I kind of sat down and thought, you know what, I'm going to nail this. I'm going to get them done. I've got about 20 drafts, all with like 2 or 3 different players, and it's getting a bit confusing.
It really is.
Oh man. But enough of drafting and stuff. I think what we've decided to do before we get into the mind fuck that is the FPL season, game weeks 1 to 38, we thought we'd have a little bit of fun. And in doing that, we're going to give you some season predictions, aren't we, James?
Yep, we are. Hopefully not as bad as last season's, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, if anybody wants to go back and hear how bad they are, I think we've got an end of season pod that reviews the predictions we did, and oh my, the league table especially was atrocious.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got the top 4 right, but
that wasn't difficult.
Yeah, it was pretty poor.
Yeah, well, I think what we're going to do, we've kind of summarized. So we've gone like highest scoring goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, and forward in the game. The usual golden glove, golden boot, most assists. And then we've thrown 2 other ones in of most overpriced FPL asset and most underpriced FPL asset. And it'll be interesting at the end of the season to see if that was the case and whether, they outperformed the value that they'd been given or whether they really shone. And then to end it, we'll probably run down from relegation to, Premier League champions of our Premier League table predictions and maybe a little bit about why we've put certain teams where we have. So first things first, James. Highest scoring goalkeeper in the FPL game. Who have you gone for?
I've gone for who it was last season, and I've gone for Martinez. I think those saves are still going to be there. His bonus is still going to be there. I can see him sort of matching last year's points total.
That seems fair, to be fair, because I had thought about Martinez. The only thing that puts me off is the fact that Villa have really strengthened going forward, but in my opinion, obviously haven't defensively. And I think Martinez kept them in games sometimes last season, and obviously in doing that gets his save points. But yeah, it's a fair shout. I'm going for a bit of a wild shot here, and it's on the basis that he gets the number 1 shirt to start with. My only doubt is the fact that he's probably missing game week 1, which I think is through COVID isolation. I've gone for Dean Henderson.
It's a fair pick.
Yeah, I just think 5.0, million goalkeeper in FPL for a Man United goalkeeper, I think is so cheap. I just think Man United are probably going to be the most improved defensively of the top 6 teams this season. So hopefully keep a few more clean sheets. And I know that Luke Shaw is obviously an incredibly popular pick amongst the community. Rightly so. If he can add clean sheets to that attacking potential, you're in for a huge hole probably come the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. What I was just thinking about just then was I feel like the top goalkeeper is normally from a lower placed team. So obviously we had Martinez at Villa. I think we've had Pope at Burnley.
We have had Pope.
I feel like that might be the case again, where they'll come from outside the top 4, outside the top 6. It'd be quite interesting to look back. I don't know if we have the data or we'll be able to find out for us who the top goalkeepers play for. Because
that's a good chat. I mean, if anybody's listening to this pod that knows that information, DM us or post it. We'd love to see it because I think you're right, and it's genuinely because I think they pick up the bonus points, don't they, if they're in a lower team, because they've effectively kept them in the game. Whereas the likes of, Dean Henderson, Lloris, Alisson, they're all top quality goalkeepers, but never pick up 3 bonus points because they're usually keeping a clean sheet and a 3-0 win. So,
yeah, and the attackers They sort of take the bonus points really.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously, yeah, your West Broms of the world, they aren't scoring 2, 3, 4 a game. So
Nah.
yeah, it's an interesting one.
Whereas moving on to the highest scoring defender, that definitely isn't the case. I think I could probably pick who you've gone for, but you might as well tell me anyway.
Yeah, I've gone for Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Same.
Was tempted to consider other people, but I think his season wasn't even that great last season, and he still was pretty high.
Yeah.
I think he might have been the highest scoring. Or was damn close.
It's worth having a look if you've got the data there. I've gone Trent as well whilst you're
Yeah.
having a look, purely because of that. Because yeah, Liverpool didn't have a great season to start with last season, but Trent really improved in the second half, didn't he? Got himself
a point.
Well,
But
there you go.
He's
Yeah.
basically there.
No, it's to do that in a season where you thought he had a poor season just shows the quality of the lad. And you know, again, this is another season leading up to another England squad, obviously for the World Cup at the end of 2022. He's going to want to have a cracker because he must be so hungry to have watched that England squad. Obviously, he missed out through injury to get all the way to the final of the Euros. He's going to want to be a part of it for the World Cup. And to do that, he's going to have to perform because as we've seen, there are plenty of other fullbacks that are, have the potential to go big for both club and country. So if Trent wants to be a part of it, I think he's going to have another really good season. Highest scoring midfielder then, mate. Who have you gone for?
I've gone for the Egyptian king himself, Mo Salah. I feel like it's almost similar to Trent, really. Like he had a good season, but I don't think it was his best season last season. And I feel like he's more than capable of becoming the top scorer again. Part of me did actually want to consider Son because of him then being on penalties. However, with Kane going, if he does go, I feel like maybe he might not return as much.
I had exactly the same debate. I too have gone Salah on the basis of, last season he got 22 goals, 6 assists. Again, in a season where he had long spells of not returning. I think that's going to change. He's had a summer's break. He's a good preseason with Liverpool. Hasn't exactly set the world on fire in preseason, but with a team like Norwich to kick off with, if he wants to get top goal scorer again, particularly if, say, Kane does go to Man City, it's going to be hard to beat him if he does go there. He's going to have to fire against these kind of, apologies Norwich fans, but weaker teams that Liverpool should be expected to beat comfortably. And if he does that, he's got every chance. And that's why, I too have gone highest scoring midfielder, Mo Salah. Moving on to forward, I think there's probably a pattern here, and I can guess who you've gone for, but we'll have another discussion in a minute. Who have you gone for at the moment as the highest scoring forward?
So I've gone for Harry Kane, which I think he will get regardless of where he is at City or Spurs, because he was some way in front last season. I think he was about like at least 50 points clear. 48, I think it was.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Clear of Bamford. So, yeah, I think he's the man, really.
Yeah, agreed. It's going to be hard to beat him, whether he is at Spurs or at City. I think if he's at Spurs, given the summer he's had and the feeling that he was going to go to City, professionally, it shouldn't affect him, but it would be interesting to see if it does. And obviously, we've had a change of management at Spurs, and there's been a lot of goings on. So it's going to be a big season for Tottenham. And if Kane doesn't perform, 2 other players that I think could go big, and they're again at similar premium price brackets. Lukaku at Chelsea. Obviously, time of recording, the deal's not been sealed, but we believe, and obviously Fabrizio Romano on Twitter has said that he's on his way, he's signing his contract and whatnot. Him at Chelsea, I think, is going to be exceptional. And the other player that I actually think is going to have a really good season, but still think he's overpriced, and I'll come on to it later, is Jamie Vardy. The reason I think he's going to have a good season is because he's now got Daka and Iheanacho alongside him. So I don't think he's going to be slogged for 90 minutes week in, week out, particularly with Europa League football coming as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see him play 60, 70 minutes and then get rested and, Daka, Iheanacho come on as impacts. That's surely going to benefit Vardy in the long run in terms of his fitness, because towards the end of last season, there were games where he looked tired. That might not be the case this season if he's got genuine options off the bench that can, come on and take the load for him.
Agreed. I'm very impressed with Darker as well. What I've seen so far.
The pace that he has had, in the Community Shield when he came on, unbelievable pace. Quality little signing. Golden Glove then. Who have you gone for?
I've gone for Edison. I feel like with that sort of strengthened City team, I feel like they'll potentially have more of the ball, and consequently less attacks faced. I feel like potentially there's room for him to get the Golden Glove this year.
Yeah, that seems fair. I've gone for Alisson on the basis that Liverpool are going into the season hopefully without the defensive injury crisis, that they had last season. I think they've strengthened, not necessarily in terms of bringing people in, but just as a team, getting back to fitness, I think has been key. I think Klopp's going to have to hopefully keep them fit, because we saw, last season when Van Dijk, Trent got injured, things went bad quickly. And they're going to have to ensure that doesn't happen again, whether that is, rotation rather than kind of slogging them week in, week out. So the likes of, Matip, Kanate, for instance, has been signed. He could, kind of replace Matip occasionally. We've obviously got Gomez to come back. We've got Robertson, who is injured to start the season now. And obviously we mentioned at the beginning of the pod, Tsimikas. It seems like he's the type of player that Liverpool have brought in to provide that cover. Last season, he wasn't used. I think he needed a season with Liverpool to bed in. He's had that now. And I think Klopp's basically said that, he's there and he's very likely to start until Robertson's fit and firing again. Liverpool need that type of player. And I mean, it was only a pre-season game, but Tsimikas looked good. I think was it Osasuna that they played? They won 3-1. The cross that he put in for Bobby Firmino was unbelievable. So if he's got that in his locker in a Premier League game, then I'm having him at 4 million.
I think Van Dijk, back in the team, definitely a contender for Golden Glove.
Huge difference, Golden Boot then, I think it's pretty obvious. Harry Kane?
Yeah, so I think Harry Kane. However, if he was to stay at Spurs, potentially I feel like someone like Bamford could pip him by 1 or 2 goals.
Okay, that's a bold shout. Do you think the likes of Bamford could challenge him rather than, say, Mo Salah?
I mean, now you say it, it does seem obvious for Mo Salah to challenge him, but I think Bamford's got the potential to. He's had a great season last season. He's going to have Rafinha again feeding him. I feel like potentially, maybe as well with the offsides, if they're being a bit more lenient on those, maybe perhaps that'll help Bamford. Yeah,
no, for sure. I've actually got Bamford in my current FPL draft for that reason. I know that they've not got the most inspiring of starts, but he's going to have Rafinha for a whole season this time round. It seems like they're now slotting Rodrigo in behind, just from what I've seen in pre-season. So the fact that they're finding positions for everybody now, I think is going to really work. And Bamford, occasionally he came off after 60 minutes and whatnot. It was frustrating. But I think he's got goals in him, that's for sure. Moving on quickly then, for most assists, who have you gone for? I've
gone for the City new boy, Jack Grealish.
Oh.
I feel like, I mean, he's great at Villa, but I think, with the players he's going to be playing with at City, I think there's a potential for him to set up a lot of goals.
Okay, no, that's a fair shout. I think Grealish is going to be an exceptional player for City. There's no doubt about it. I don't know why the deal took so long to go through. for me, I think it was done before the Euros. It seems that way from what Grealish has also said in his interview, but there was a lot of Villa fans on Twitter and online generally who were saying that he was going to sign a new contract. So I think there were murmurings, but yeah, for me, he was always going to be a City man. I've not gone Grealish, but I've gone for the other City maestro. I've gone Kevin De Bruyne. I think if he can have, I know he's not fit to start the season, but if he is fit and firing, say, game week 3, game week 4, when City's fixtures turn, I think it could be gold. And I mean, if he does have Harry Kane, Grealish, those kind of players alongside him, we know that man can thread a ball through the eye of a needle, let alone a string, so a thread. But yeah, I think he's easily going to get 15, 20 assists this season if he's fully fit for the whole season.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think it depends on their fitness because I think Grealish and KDB both had a little bit of time out last season due to injury. They both finished on 12 assists, so it's going to be interesting to see.
It is, yeah, exactly. And Grealish obviously did that with Villa, whereas De Bruyne did that with City. So
there you go then, mate.
Wow. All right then. 2 controversial ones then. Who do you think is the most overpriced asset in FPL?
I think I feel like it's a relatively easy one for me, and I think it's Aubameyang at 10 million.
Yeah, it seems fair.
He's still a very good player, but based off of last season, I don't know how you can price him at 10 million.
Nah,
his output's nowhere near what a 10 million player got last season. So
exactly, he had a dreadful
I could quite
season.
easily said Mane as well at 12 million. A little bit too expensive for me.
Yeah, well, you're right to mention Mane because I've gone 2 players. I've gone for Mane, who I think FPL have wimped out in his pricing and pricing him, $500,000 cheaper than Salah. I mean, there's no decision to be had then, surely, because the majority are going to go with Mo Salah. It takes a brave man to go the other way. And the other player that I mentioned, even though I have spoken about him as potential for, say, the Golden Boot, I think Vardy is overpriced at 10.5. I think it's unfortunate that they priced him that high because it feels to me that, say, Lukaku, as and when he comes in, I think he'll be a similar price. You're probably likely to go with Lukaku than you are Vardy. It would have been nice to see maybe 9.5, 10 max to at least pose that question.
Yeah, he's a little bit too expensive for me. I think 9.5 would have been tempting.
Very, yeah, exactly. At least the decision to be had if he's 9.5 million.
Yeah, whereas you kind of turn your nose up at 10.5, you go, I'm not paying that.
Yeah, exactly. All right then, and finally for these predictions, who do you think is the most underpriced asset and why?
Now this was a tricky one. Obviously there's lots of talk about who is underpriced, who's a gem. But for me, I think Luca Digne at 5.5 is pretty good value. Obviously, Everton aren't known for their clean sheets, but Digne is a very attacking player and potentially could be on free kicks with Gylfi Sigurdsson ending up maybe getting popped up.
Oh, the name gets mentioned. It only took, 20 minutes?
I think Luca Digne is a great pick for that price, and he's actually in my draft, unlike Bamford, who I've been raving about.
That's fair. To be fair, I think Everton should be more defensively solid this season with Rafa at the helm. I'm just a bit unsure about going with any Everton asset at the moment because I think both their forwards are either out because of the Olympics, obviously Richarlison, and DCL is injured. That worries me. And having watched their pre-season game against Man United, they were woeful. And I know it's pre-season, and we've said time and time again in pods, don't judge everything on pre-season, but that was a very uninspiring performance for what I felt was quite a strong Everton team. So yeah, that kind of put me off going Luca Digne. So, but it's one to watch because 5.5 million it's a good price. But when it's compared to the same prices like Luke Shaw, for instance, I'd go with Shaw over Digne. So,
who's Digne's first game?
Shh. We're signing forwards, mate. It's fine. Like,
true, yeah. Hopefully Armstrong. Not
exactly.
The game.
We'll back. Yeah, fingers crossed. For me, the most underpriced asset, and again, one that I think FPL just got lazy with is Rafinha. The fact that they've priced him 6.5 again is madness. I know he only had half a season last year, but in that half a season, he was hauling every couple of games. And I mean, if he's going to do that again this season, 6.5 is an absolute bargain for Rafinha. So yeah, for me, the most underpriced asset.
Yeah, fair play. What I'll probably end up doing, depending on the performance of Buendia, who arguably could be another shout at 6.5, I can hop onto Rafinha if he's going wild.
Yeah, I had Buendia in several drafts, but the fact that he missed out because of a knock at the weekend worries me. But I think there's going to be a lot of decisions made based on press conferences this week, because I'm really hoping that managers at least come out and say, nah, that they're not playing. And we don't often get that, but fingers crossed they're kind to us this week, because there's a few that have got knocks that are likely to play. And then there's a few that are 50-50 calls.
Yeah, I feel like my whole draft has a sort of a question mark over it, really. With currently Harry Kane's in there as a placeholder at 12.5, but obviously if he's not going to play the first game, I don't really want him sat on my bench.
Nah, I'm staying away from Harry Kane. And then, to be fair, it wouldn't surprise me if I wildcard early and then make the switch, as and when he is, say, a City player. But yeah, for now, I don't think it's worth spending that just in case.
Yeah, I was going to say, you need a plan to get him in, be it wild card or money in the bank.
Agreed. Right, should we jump on to what I actually found incredibly tough to do, and that is our Premier League table prediction.
Yes, I found it tough too. There's always a team that you kind of tend to forget about.
Yeah.
But I can see we've both got the same. Should we start from the top or the bottom?
Start from the bottom up.
All right, let's go from the bottom. So, similar bottom threes. I've gone for Norwich at the bottom, then Watford, then Burnley. So, I feel like this might be the season that Burnley actually go down.
I know, that's a bold call.
In fairness, it was tough. It wasn't clear cut for me. I flirted with putting Newcastle there. Saints, I actually thought about putting 18th. I just thought it would be a bit of a bold statement, though, and I didn't really want to do it.
The only way is up from there, mate, I tell you.
Yeah.
I've gone similar. I've gone Norwich 20th, Watford 19th. And I didn't want to be that guy that puts the 3 promoted teams to get relegated, but I just couldn't convince myself that Burnley will go down. So yeah, I've gone Brentford as 18th, and I really hope they prove me wrong, because I'd like to see Brentford stay up, but that's my bottom 3.
Yeah, very boring bottom 3.
Exactly. Who have you got then from 17th to 14th?
So yeah, from 17th, I've got Brentford just surviving, Newcastle, Southampton, and then Brighton in 14th.
So you got Saints all the way down in 15th?
I have, yeah.
I would have had them there had we not made the signings that we're making. I've got a little bit more positivity than I did, say, a week ago when I did the Planet FPL correspondence chat, just because I think that the young lads that we're bringing in from Chelsea, and then obviously hopefully Armstrong, I think they're solid signings that we need. But yeah, for me, I've gone Burnley surviving just in 17th, Brighton in 16th. It was a tough one. I didn't want to put them there, but yeah, just there's something about Brighton, the whole performance against XG, just I think 16th for me, Newcastle in 15th, and then Wolves in 14th again. New season for the manager. I think they're to me, yeah, they've got Jimenez back, but I think they're still struggling from losing some top players in the last couple of seasons.
In fairness, I've only got them one place higher. I've got them in 13th.
Oh, well, there you go.
And then now I think this is maybe a case of me slightly forgetting them here, but I've got West Ham down in 12th. I would like to have them higher, but I'm not sure who I'd place them above. So
okay,
I guess they have to finish 12th. Then Palace in 11th, and I've got Everton as 10th.
Nice. I've gone 13th as Palace. Then I've gone Saints in 12th. I mean, I genuinely think that's too ambitious, but Please don't prove me wrong. I've got Everton down in 11th, so it's interesting. We've both kind of got them to struggle a little bit. And then, yeah, I've got West Ham in 10th. I agree with you, talking about potentially putting them higher. The only thing for me is the fact that I really like their first 11, but I'm not sure of the strength and depth of West Ham. And with them having European football to contend with now this season, that's going to be a completely different challenge. So for me, I've got them as mid-table. I think they'll do well, but I don't think they'll be pushing for Europe again.
That's a great point, because like if you take out Cresswell and Antonio out of that team, suddenly they're a lot worse.
Yeah,
they don't really have like a decent sort of backup left back or striker to sort of come in.
Exactly. Yeah, it's particularly with obviously Lingard. It seems to be like he's staying at Man United, which surprises me.
Yeah,
they've got Ben Rama to step in. I think he'll have a good season. But then who else is there from Ben Rama? I know they've got Four Owls, but I think he's a different player. So yeah, it's just the strength and depth that is a bit of a concern for West Ham. Moving up then, who have you got for 9th to 7th?
I was going to go 9th to 5th, but
do it. Go on.
Let's do it. So 9th is Leeds, then Villa in 8th, Arsenal 7th, Leicester 6th, and then Spurs 5th.
Okay, so you got Spurs getting that Europa League guaranteed qualifying.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, I've gone similar, to be fair. There is only, I think, one place difference between our predictions, which is quite interesting, given last season I think we're a little bit more spread out. I've gone for Villa 9th. I think, yeah, they've definitely improved going forward. I mean, they've signed 3 brilliant players. Unfortunately, Danny Ings, but yeah, it's a different story. For Grealish's money, so I think they'll definitely improve. Leeds, I'd like to see up there again, so I've gone them in 8th. Tottenham, if they lose Harry Kane, I think they'll even struggle for 7th, but I've put them in 7th for now. And I've got Arsenal in 6th because their only focus this season is the Premier League. They don't have European football. So I think 6th should be the minimum that Arsenal should be aiming for, particularly if Arteta can pick his starting 11 week in, week out. And then just missing out on Champions League football, I've got Leicester.
Very interesting. Pretty similar to mine. I wouldn't argue with what you've said there. In fairness, I thought about putting Tottenham lower, but yeah, if they've got Kane, then I could see them easily finishing 5th.
Yeah. Top 4 then. Let's do it one by one.
Okay, so 4th, I have Chelsea.
Oh, I've gone Liverpool.
I've got Liverpool 3rd.
I've got Man United 3rd.
I've got Man United 2nd.
I'm punting on the fact that Lukaku makes a huge difference, and I've got Chelsea finishing in 2nd.
Wow. And then I've got, obviously, Man City to win.
Yeah, I think if they don't win the Premier League with the squad that they've got, then Guardiola needs to hang his head, because if they sign Harry Kane as well, their squad is unbelievable. Even with the likes of Bernardo Silva saying that they want to leave the club, I think Pep made that clear. Doesn't think he's going to get the game time now. That's not going to make a big difference, is it? Because they've got so many other players that they can call on now. So yeah, Man City should run away with the league again this season.
Yeah, such a good squad. I've put Man U 2nd because I think I like their signings. They've strengthened. I think Sancho's going to improve them a fair amount. So I'd expect, and maybe also having Dean Henderson in goal for the season might give them a bit more.
Oh yeah, and obviously Varane becoming a centre back for Man United, I think will make a massive difference. The Varane-Maguire partnership is one that I am looking forward to seeing. Right, well, I think that's a good way to end the prediction pod, to be honest, with the Man City champions. It's just something that we wanted to do. We wanted to have a little bit of fun before we really get our heads down for the FPL season, because moving forward from next week, we will be doing our game week by game week review. So we'll obviously give you a rundown of the games that have gone by, some facts and figures, probably our thoughts on what happened. And then we might even look slightly to the next game week in a couple of little predictions, maybe, picking the top 3 captaincy options and whatnot. Just have a discussion about the game week. But as always, we'll give you our full game week review gone by, and then look to the future. So on that note, James, I think good luck for the season. Can't wait to see your draft on Friday. No doubt you'll send it me after the deadline, and I will speak to you soon, mate.
All right, I will do.
All right. It's been a pleasure, folks. It's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Cheers, guys.